Sure, I think it's for Rakesh. I think Yeah. So Rakesh, when we talking earlier, right, and you talked about, you did a lot of work in hiring armed forces in your, previous assignments. You want to just, talk about what approach you have taken, how you convinced, your leadership in making them to come to the industry, mainstream industry. And we all know that. And while, we can actually say a lot of things to bring them to the table, but we all work for a business. Business need certain kind of people. They all go through the same kind of interview process. I don't think bias will come at all, right? But still you're able to actually kind of get people, right? And then just wanted to understand, that'll help a lot of people here, what made you to successful in that.
Thank you for the question. And again, great gratitude, and I'm highly obliged and honored to be here. Specifically, I keep all the armed forces, defense forces in my prayers whenever I reach out to the Almighty. So I will continue doing that. That's my little bit what I can do. Thank you for that. Coming back to the question, yes, I did have an opportunity to hire a few veterans. Unfortunately, not too many. According to me, I could have done much more. You might be surprised that I was able to hire an accounting professional, a veteran officer, to transition into an tax practice, US tax practice in one of my previous organizations. And that transition was an experience for myself to first, as Parul said, that get your unconscious bias aside, and then work with the business leader, identify that who is your go-to person who is accepting this kind of diversity to be part of the team, who are have that open mind to even look at the skill as well as the experience, and then bring that person in. And I happen to find couple of them in the previous firm from the business side, worked very closely with them. I had to sensitize few of their team members and interviewers to see that, okay, don't look at the army or the defense experience alone. Just look at the individual. Just be open to even talk to that person, and then decide whether you would want to take this person in your team or not. Parallelly, when I spoke to the individual who wanted to come through from the defense side to the corporate, it worked out very easy for me, because that person, as a sniper approach, had a very clear vision that I would want to pursue my experience in the accounting domain. He already started getting into a certification mode, which is required for the US taxation, so he made it very easy for me. And that is what was, I would call, a baby step for me to get into the veteran hiring space. Then the next approach I had in the industry was that go back to the coup leader, the chief operating officer, help him or her understand that this is what the armed forces or the defense forces bring to the table. I know you have your conscious bias that you would need somebody who has a 10-15 year experience rather than hiring someone with a 20 or 15 year experience. Why don't you give it a shot and just speak to 3 or 4 of them? We identified 3 or 4 of them. He spoke to them. Now we have hired 6 of them in the last 1 year alone. That I believe these are baby steps for us, and I think I wish I could do double, triple digits sooner than later.
You're going to do it with this program and the people around here. I'm sure all of us is going to help that. So Parul or Ashwin, you want to pick up the question? Have you done anything in your previous stint, or some examples somebody's done it?
Yeah, haven't been able to do much, but again I think I'll have to go back to the previous question, Murli. I think awareness has been a bit of issue. Today, while we knew that there are programs for defense professionals, we did not know to the extent the quality or the cohort, and that is what we are getting to see today. So thank you, Professor Devleena and everyone, for inviting us today and exposing us to this side of the world. In terms of adding on to, as the tricks or the things that we try to do or have been trying to do to convince business, is in terms of for each role that we hire, there are always functional skills and there are always behavioral skills. That's a standard formula you would see in each of the, even for administrative services, even in government offices, right? So you all would score very high on behavioral skills. That I can bet, and that calls for a round of applause for this group, definitely.
Is that also a danger for IT industry not to hire them?
No, not at all, because
IT industry is little unstructured at this point of time.
Yeah, so that's the complementary skill they bring onto the table, right? Is to bring the discipline and the structure to the chaos that we currently, we see at different scales, right? So it is about bringing the functional skills, and again I would repeat that when it comes to functional skills, it's about really having the sniper approach. There could be one or two things maximum, and there was one document sent. I think we had some 67 folks or profile details there. And I could say that from there on, there was, again, I understand it is about getting the foot into the door, but having at least one or two top skills that you want to build your career upon is extremely critical. Speak to people who are within the same profiles. Security seems to be a comfort zone for this group, whether it is cybersecurity or otherwise. So if that's what you want to pursue, speak to folks in cybersecurity. And just last one point, when it is about functional skills, speak the same language, whether it is project management, whether it is cybersecurity, whether it is administrative services or operational services, as you all can definitely, just by the way we speak, I'm sure you can understand that we are civilians, right? We do not speak and talk like you. Exactly the same way when we are sitting on the other side of the table, we understand the skills that you bring onto the table. What would make it slightly easier for the hiring committees generally is if you use the same language. Even if it is a repeat, agile methodology, say it 5 times, but that gets registered. So that's what I would add.
Fantastic. So before you say, Ashwini, I think I have a quick question to audience, right? What kind of percentage of diversity industry is going through now? So any percentage, maybe you guys can tell about in your firm, and what is the percentage, maybe Vishwa, what is the percentage you actually kind of helping GCC to kind of go on diversity? (35-40%). Anybody is there beating him or less than that? Yeah.
Organization we have 40%.
40%? Yeah. 40%? Oh yeah, leadership, you're talking about your 60% gender ratio? Oh, wow, that's fantastic. Yeah, so that's in India. So diversity is, India is known for that. Parul, you're saying something. What percentage?
We are also close to 40%.
Okay.
And again, the percentage varies as you go up to the junior level, mid
Correct,
level, and
correct.
leadership.
So I think the reason I'm asking is, we all remember about 7-8 years back, and the industry is about 22-23%. If you go back, and by the way, all these percentages talking about IT. It's not, apart from IT, a lot of them. Yeah.
In the pharma sector, my Bombay location had 100% diversity.
Oh, that's fantastic. I think this require applause for that, right? But overall, industry is still running at maybe 27, 28, not even 30%, in India. It's lot way to go. And then, the data talks about the grads coming out of colleges is about 52 to 53% diversity workforce coming in, especially gender diversity. Where are all these guys going is another thing which industry need to talk about it, right? So while we're talking about metrics, maybe, this is to Ashwini and, Aparna, both of you can answer this. What kind of metrics industry is looking for, showing that are we better or we still need to go a lot on DEI?
Well, I think that's a very interesting question, because as a consultant, when I meet my clients, we majorly operate at the leadership level, leaders which are like N-1 and maybe N-2, which is typically like your functional head levels. There's always this ask, we want to hire diverse candidates. I'm talking beyond gender right now, right? We always insist it should not be limited to gender. Then there's a lot of excitement. Yes, we have to look beyond that, and we really want to look at a diverse background. My immediate ask is, how ready are you as an organization to welcome a diverse candidate? And then what is your preparation to help give them a thriving environment? What systems and processes you have? How does your HR policy support? What is the awareness of or understanding your leadership team has, or probably layers below that, to accept somebody coming from a different space? And how much time have you given this person to sort of learn the skills of your in your space? So it's a very interesting conversation. Many times it's an eye-opener, I see that side, because we start talking together and then arrive at something. But how I measure, or probably how we sort of arrive at, is trying to understand the workforce diversity. Broadly asking them, what is your workforce diversity?
Okay.
What is the composition of your workforce? Be it gender, age, or a diverse background. What is its composition? Let me understand what is the diversity at your leadership level, which is super important, because everything gets driven from there. And then we try to understand, okay, you have hired this percentage of diverse. What is your retention rate? Right? How many people have you been able to retain? What are the advancements or promotions, or how have they advanced in their careers? What portion of your diverse talent has actually moved up the career ladder? And what about the pay parity? What is the compensation parity, right? And then and of course, trying to do some kind of a employee, surveys internally, trying to understand what does your youngest member in the organization speak about as far as inclusive environment is concerned. What about your external ranking? See, it goes on, right?
A lot of metrics on
yeah,
that,
a lot
right?
of metrics.
Maybe
I'm sure Aparna can add on to specific, maybe if there's any tools or something which you measure.
Also, maybe you can touch upon how this metrics helping on employee engagement, retention.
So let me first say the retention itself, what we do, and as a leader, what I make sure, right? By the way, leadership is just a behavior.
Correct.
Whether it's a man or a woman doesn't matter.
That's right.
What I've clearly told my team is, irrespective of who is leaving, find out the reason. If it's between us, controllable and uncontrollable, that's the way I look at it. If it's controllable, it's something that we can do within the organization then and there. It shouldn't take us too much. You can't sit on it for 15 days, right? The connects matter. So those are some metrics in general. But again, I would just want to say, why are we only sticking to IT industry? The entire world is out there.
Correct.
This is something that's a problem with us. We only say IT. I'm so happy to have worked in different industries. I took a conscious choice, right? The consulting that I did after an IT industry was in the non-IT space, the manufacturing, the textile. Oh, so diversity comes from there, right? Your thought process.
Correct.
That changes. Then I went into a pharma industry. I was a part of a geriatric industry. So which kind of brings about different diversity factors, where it's not just the